But first, Ivanka Trump says she did not know it was against the rules to conduct government business through her personal email. This after the Washington Post reported the president's daughter and advisor repeatedly used her personal account to conduct government business last year. Carol Leonnig is one of the reporters who broke the story. I spoke with her a short time ago and began by asking when the personal email took place.
Really interesting, Judy. What we learned was the White House review that was triggered in the fall found that she'd been using it basically from the day her father was inaugurated, but she wasn't really covered by the rules until she officially joined the White House on March 30th. But that personal use of her email for official business continued until they discovered it in the fall.
In the fall of 2017.
That's right.
And remind us how this was discovered.
So it was triggered by something fairly mundane and small, which was that a watchdog group was interested in her communications while she was sort of an unofficial employee, and they FOIA'd, or made a public records request, for agency communications with her. You can't seek public records from the White House, but you can make a formal request from cabinet-level agencies, and that's what they did. When that happened, as the agencies were gathering up the records that they needed to turn over, they realized that the president's daughter was using a personal email account.
So you wrote hundreds of emails, and what were they about? What was she writing about, and to whom was she writing?
So when they found out that she was using this personal email with cabinet-level officials, they started to dig a little deeper. And the White House and Ivanka Trump's lawyer discovered that she was communicating in three basic ways. One, to cabinet-level officials before and after she was in an official role. Second, she was making a lot of scheduling and sort of logistic arrangements with a personal assistant. So she was writing on a personal email all sorts of details about her public life to sort of keep her household manager and her child care manager in the loop about what she was doing. And then finally, in the third group, she was talking to close confidants inside the White House about official business, but using her personal email.
Was this illegal?
It violates the Presidential Records Act, an act that governs the White House and helps make sure that there's always an archive, a permanent record of every presidency. So even though something as mundane as, I'm going to Idaho tomorrow to talk about child care on behalf of my father, the president, even though that's fairly banal, it has to be stored, it has to be kept as a record. And she broke that rule quite a lot.
So go ahead. I was just going to say, as I understand your reporting, her response when she was asked about it was that she wasn't aware of the rules, and yet presumably she had been briefed?
So she received a briefing a little late because she arrives later than the other members who are brought in after the inauguration. However, it's hard to imagine she didn't know anything about the personal email use prohibitions. There is one wrinkle, which is she wasn't getting, once they discovered in the fall of 2017 all these personal emails that violated the rules, she made the argument, look, I didn't know, I wasn't reminded, and it turned out that she wasn't getting regular all-staff reminders about prohibitions on personal email use. Everybody in the White House got periodic reminders. For some weird reason, she wasn't on the all-staff list and wasn't getting those updates.
Of course, one of the reasons, Carol Leonnig, this is getting so much attention today is that is what President Trump had to say about Hillary Clinton's use of a private email server. Thousands and thousands of emails. And today we know when the president was asked about this, he said, oh, this is a very different case because his daughter wasn't dealing with classified information, he said, and he said she didn't destroy emails. So his contention, I guess her contention, is that it's not the same thing at all.
I think I'm of mixed minds about that, Judy. On the one hand, I agree, based on the reporting we have so far, that this is different than the Secretary of State at the time, Hillary Clinton, setting up a whole server and a complete completely separate email system to never use her government account. So there's no evidence that Ivanka was doing that. However, the similarities are pretty striking. She was using private email. She should have been on alert that she shouldn't do that. As well, she has a private attorney going through her emails, as Hillary Clinton did, to help her decide what's personal, what's public. We haven't seen the personal emails, so you don't know what's gone, what might be business related. You just can't know. And then finally, we don't know whether or not classified materials are discussed. Remember, Hillary Clinton also said there was no classified markings on her emails. It turned out that many of the things she discussed were classified. Did Ivanka Trump ever talk to a foreign official or discuss a foreign official on her personal email? If she did, that could be a classified discussion.
Well, we know that the House Oversight Committee is going to be looking into this. Perhaps we will get more information about what was in those emails. Carol Leonnig of the Washington Post, thank you.
Thank you, Judy.